when most people think of sustainability, they think of environment, but another important aspect is the sustainability of human life.
It's no limits, it's not about money, but if you can impact lives, then it typically becomes something that's sustainable and grows.
One of the reasons why we have a housing crisis today is that it takes too long and too complicated, to build a home.
75% of our time is spent in our home, right? So we are trying to build a home conducive for the overall health of the human experience.
So traditional home building is very inefficient in its nature. Most people don't really think about what their homes are built of and how they're built. Construction contributes 30% of waste in landfills, and we only have 15 years of landfill capacity left in this country, so the issue of waste is going to become a lot more paramount sooner.
Thank you, Natasha. Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Marcus. As Natasha said, I'm one of the co-founders and managing partners at Up Partners. We're a Santa Monica-based venture capital firm focused on transportation technology. And today we're going to be talking about sustainability, and specifically around sustainability in the built world. Yesterday we talked a bit about sustainability with respect to transportation. And I just wanted to kind of share a little personal story why I became interested in transportation technology. When you think about how the world has evolved over the last 100 years, people are connected now in new ways because of transportation. 100 years ago, if you wanted to travel from here to Europe, you got on a ship and half the people died before you got there. Right? Today, we can just get on an airplane, and in a few hours, we can be anywhere safely, almost 100% of the time. And so this connection between people has led to a more peaceful world, a more prosperous world. It allows people in remote places to be connected to a global marketplace. But at the same time, transportation has become the biggest contributor of greenhouse gas emissions, except for food production. And I see that climate change is a very significant existential risk to society. So if we want to continue to increase the utility of transport while reducing its climate impact, we need to make significant investments there. And I think that what we're going to learn today about the built world, there's a similar story happening here where Basil Starr, who's here with us, the CEO of Polari, is focused on making homes both cleaner and healthier for people to live in. And Jamil Hardwick here, he has an incredible story he'll share with you, is helping support that and many other businesses in a similar domain. So I thought we'll just start by getting to know these guys a little bit, and then we'll talk about what they're working on. So Basil, maybe share with us a little bit about your story, your whole history, how you came to founding Polari, and what you guys are up to.
Thanks, Ben. So for me, my background is pretty diverse. I was born in Ukraine and grew up in California. Went to USC here, fight on to the Trojans in the audience. And I initially worked in investment banking at JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley on the real estate side. That's how I learned the business. And then financial crisis happened in 2008, and I had to pivot and find other opportunities. Ended up going to Hong Kong and working for one of the largest supply chain management firms in the world, which took me around the world, many different countries. I did contracts in over 30 countries at that time. And ultimately started my own firm in a similar space, supply chain management of steel, from raw materials to finished products. Sold that company, moved back to the States, and started investing in real estate, building ground-up homes, and very quickly realized how inefficient and outdated traditional construction is and how unsustainable it is. So I wanted to focus on the latest technologies to build homes, make it more efficient, more sustainable, and ultimately healthier homes for the occupants. So I started Polari 3 years ago, and since then we've built the world's first 3D printed zero-net energy community and are now growing within the state as well as going to other states pretty soon.
That's awesome, and we'll learn a whole lot more about that this afternoon. Jamil, give us a little bit of your background. You've done some amazing things in your career, very diverse backgrounds. Why don't you share a bit of the things you've accomplished?
Yeah, thank you. I started in entertainment, started managing actors such as Michael B. Jordan, Mari Hardwick. Within that space, was always looking at innovative out of the box type of things that I could do to incorporate and expand. And one of those ultimately became starting a product placement company. So I saw the necessity to integrate brands within television. This was before social media as well, to create more exposure. And that took off. As a manager, you deal with the wardrobe stylist. You're reading the script, so ideally you would know the clothing lines, the different brands that fit whatever that show or film is. So I was able to utilize, that to grow these different brands. From there, kind of always wanted to do investment and entrepreneurial things that centered around impact. And speaking about sustainability, I just knew it would be, a longer shelf life if you went around impact. And there's no limits, It's not about money, but if you can impact lives, then it typically becomes something that's sustainable and grows. So from there, was one of the people involved with Health House, which is a health, fitness, and wellness company. I'm an original partner and investor. And with Health House, one of the main attractive things was the name Health House and where we could go with it and how much we could do with that name outside of just the health and fitness space. And wellness was a foundational element that we spoke about from the start, and community. So Health House did exceptionally well. We were probably one of the most popular new health and fitness spaces in LA, and COVID hit 6 months later. So we had to pivot, which we were able to do. We, during that time, found through algorithms that our reach had expanded to 75 countries with our online classes, which we did for free for 6 months. And the reason we did it for free is because it was so many people going through so many challenging experiences at that time, including mental health and wellness. So we did that, and ultimately, I think we did it for a year before we started charging, and at that point, we had 3,000 new members. So during our expansion of Health House, one of the things that we wanted to incorporate was kind of building health and wellness through smart homes. So we met with some potential, leads that we thought would be a good fit. And when we came across Polari, it was, perfectly aligned with their innovative approach, sustainability, high quality of materials that are used. It kind of was a perfect synergy there. So here we are.
Yeah, it's so interesting. A lot of times when we hear the word sustainability, we think about the global climate in terms of sustainability. But sustainability means a lot more than just that, and it also means health. And so I think it's very interesting how you've brought these two themes together in your business. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about Polari?
So you're absolutely right. When most people think of sustainability, they think of environment, but another important aspect is the sustainability of human life and how the environment impacts our health and wellness. And so it is one of the core pillars of what we focus on at Polari, is really optimizing that home environment. That starts with the materials that we use with low VOCs, then air, water, nutrition, sound, movement within the home. And so there are a lot of aspects in the home environment that scientifically have been proven to impact health and wellness over time. And that is something that we're changing and really focused on.
That's great. So let's imagine somebody in the audience here says, I would love the idea of having a sustainable, healthy home. How would they go about becoming a customer, let's say, of Polari?
So we build directly for consumers in California right now only, but we make it a very turnkey process. So if you wanted to build a home, typically it would require you engaging architects, engineers, a general contractor. It's a pretty lengthy process. That is one of the reasons why we have a housing crisis today, is that it takes too long and too complicated to build a home. It takes over 12 months to build a single family home today, depending on where you are. It could be even longer. We build it in under 4 months using prefabricated components that are assembled quickly on site. And becomes a very easy process for the consumer. So we're actually developing our website to be digital storefront. And we just recently had the first customer who made their purchase and started the process online with us.
How cool is that? I remember not too long ago when Tesla started selling solar panels, on their website. So, yeah, now you can buy a whole house on website. That's great. So, what's sort of the experience of living in a Polari house? How's it different than living in an ordinary house?
I think starting from the materials, just the frame of the building itself, it's really important to talk about that because most people don't really think about what their homes are built of and how they're built. But we make sure that the materials are very durable, very resilient, and ultimately the home itself is climate resilient going forward. A lot of the issues that typically happen in traditional homes, wood-framed homes, is that you have termites, you have mold, you have other issues that are endemic to wooden materials. And we don't have wood in our homes. We build with steel, with new materials. And so that eliminates a lot of the issues down the road. And if you think about traditional homes, after about 20 years, a lot of the homes, majority of the homes, develop some form of mold. And 10% of Americans are allergic to mold and could be living in homes not realizing that they have mold growing inside their walls. And so that is a key first differentiator, is really what's inside your home, inside your walls. And then going into the indoor environment, it's the materials that are close to the occupants, that being the flooring, the drywall, the paint, a lot of the traditional type of materials, off-gas, volatile organic compounds, which is harmful to your health. So we make sure that we have low-VOC materials. We focus on air and water filtration and monitoring. Lighting is very important. We utilize circadian lighting in our homes, which changes throughout the day depending on the intensity of the sun and helps you to sleep better at night. There are 10 different categories that we cover in terms of health optimization within the home. But ultimately, the next step for us is developing our own smart home automation app that will be focused on health optimization. And that is comparing the indoor environment through sensors to the biometrics of the individuals inside, and then optimizing the factors of the home to improve your personal health.
That's great. And I think maybe one often forgotten factor here in health is having a healthy marriage in these families. And I know if I was going to try to build a house from scratch with my wife, we'd have a lot of arguments about what it should be. So you basically offer prepackaged houses, makes it a little bit easier to order than having something fully custom, right? Can maybe tell us about how that works?
Yeah, exactly. So think about purchasing a vehicle when you basically first select from a type of model that you have. So our version of that, you select the floor plan that we have, and we're constantly expanding that library of floor plans. And then we offer standardized options on the interiors, on the exterior. And so what that makes is that it streamlines the process significantly. When somebody's building a custom home, they have way too many decisions to make. And that's what makes it so complicated and so long, and does result in some marriage issues.
Yeah, so Jamil, maybe you could share a little bit more about sort of how Health House and Polari have come together and collaborate, and what is it about Health House that has helped Polari grow and thrive, and what's sort of the vision for the future there?
It was our attraction to the wellness element that Polari was incorporating. I think that wellness, health and wellness will be an integral part, much more substantial in the process behind home buyers purchasing homes now. And kind of with the innovative technology and high quality materials that Polari was using, and where we already are, it can and will impact in a positive way home buyers' overall health. And that goes from cognitive level and beyond.
So tell us a little bit about your first major project that you accomplished. You built a community. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we built the first 3D printed zero energy community, and the focus there was, first of all, building the home sustainably. So that's the materials that we're using, the zero waste construction site, but then also making these homes operationally zero energy. That means they're fully electric, and they're powered by solar with battery storage. And that's what we were able to achieve that. And it is something that really put us on the map because we were covered by over 300 publications like Forbes and Wall Street Journal, just as being an innovator in sustainable home building.
And where is it located?
It's near Palm Springs, so Desert Hot Springs.
And about how many homes were there?
That's 20 homes.
Okay. And are there still any available if somebody wants to buy one, or they're all sold?
So we built it for a developer. That developer will be putting them on the market, I believe, next month. So yes.
Okay, so that's all very, very new news. That's great. Can you give us a sense of sort of quantitative, metric statistics on what it really, what sort of climate impact building a house typically has as compared to the Polari method?
So traditional home building is very inefficient in its nature. Everything that we make in our lives, all the products are manufactured. Traditionally, homes are built on site. So that means all the materials are brought to site, they're processed on site, a lot of waste. Construction contributes 30% of waste in landfills, which is incredible. And we only have 15 years of landfill capacity left in this country. So the issue of waste is going to become a lot more paramount sooner than decarbonization. And it's more visible and more impactful in the immediate future. So that's something that we focus on a lot, is having a zero waste process, zero waste on the home site itself. And then in the factory, of course, everything is automated and you're able to reduce waste through robotic automation and streamlining supply chain.
That's great. Jamil, you're an investor. Maybe share with us a little bit more about what you're looking for in other investments, specifically in the sustainability space. Are you seeing things you're interested in these days?
Yeah, Polari, obviously, it's something that we think we can expand, like Basil spoke about with our application and being able to integrate certain things, like when you are renting out one of our homes, where you can incorporate maybe adding your own personal trainer or chef that, health-wise, 75% of our time is spent in our home, right? So we are trying to build a home conducive for the overall health of the human experience. So just expanding from there, maybe multifamily unit homes, hotels. Right now, it seemingly fits kind of those retreat type of destinations like Palm Springs, Ojai, Joshua Tree, where people kind of cater to going there for that experience. But we want to be something that, everyone can experience and appreciate ultimately.
Yeah, that's great. And I imagine, since COVID, there's been quite a movement toward spending even more time at home than people did before. So this becomes increasingly important. Are you still finding that sort of this work from home trend has persisted? I know a lot of businesses are trying to get people to come back to work in the office. But what are you finding in sort of the market?
It certainly has changed the landscape. Certainly some companies are back to the office or hybrid model, but you now have the highest percentage of people since before COVID working from home or doing a hybrid approach. And so that increases that time spent inside a home from 75% to almost 90% if you're working from home all the time. So it just makes it a lot more important to focus on what home you're living in.
Yeah, and being in the transportation investing space, we're finding more and more that people are trying to find either alternative ways to get to work, so they don't have to be stuck in a car, especially in LA, which is the most typical mode of travel between home and work, or they want to live closer to where they work, so they don't have to be in a car as long, or maybe they can walk to work. So are you finding that there are opportunities for sort of urban infill with these kinds of sustainable concepts with Polari, or is it more new community development in outlying areas? What do you see?
I think there's actually a great opportunity in terms of urban infill, especially in California, where cost of construction is so high. It costs typically $500 and up to build a custom home in an urban location like Los Angeles or San Francisco. And this is something where we're very competitive in terms of time, speed, as well as cost. So we build in half the time, 4 months. We build at a lower cost than your traditional kind of custom cost. And we're also streamlining other parts of the process, like permitting, for example. We're able to get some of our designs pre-approved with certain jurisdictions so that the permitting time is cut significantly from maybe 6 months to 1 month. And that's Los Angeles is very great for that. You know, they have a program through LADBS where, you know, home builders can pre-approve the designs and streamline the process significantly.
That's great. And I think we talk a lot about environmental sustainability, health. What about affordability as well? We obviously, you know, especially in a place like Los Angeles, have very high cost of living. You know, how does this sort of prefabrication and the other elements of your approach reduce the cost of building a house?
So I like to say that we provide affordable luxury in this space because we build a higher quality product for less. And that is key, you know, obviously to kind of gaining market acceptance, and that's what we're seeing right now. And for a consumer, it's ultimately the price, but then the time also factors into it. You know, the longer it takes you to build a home, the more expensive it's going to be, and that is a big part of the equation that we solve.
That's great. Well, we have some time for questions. If anybody in the audience has a question for Basil or for Jamil, there's a microphone that will be handed around. Maybe just raise your hand if you have a question. There's one here in the middle. Sorry, it's hard for me to see with the bright lights up here. But if somebody has a microphone they can bring to this woman in the middle, that'd be great. Maybe you can yell it out. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so in California, we're currently building for $350 per square foot, which is very competitive in the custom space. You know, that is a turnkey price, so that includes design, site work, and a turnkey home. We're going to the state of Washington next year, where we will be building a community of about 10 homes. Specifically designed for active aging and aging in place, which is something that's very important to me personally because of my kind of experiences with my family, but also looking at the United States and the aging baby boomer population that really requires a different type of home at that stage of life to really perform at your best level, to age gracefully, to experience the home without the need with a lot of external help. And so the home automation really helps, you know, with that goal. We actually have 2 medical doctors on our design team, which is pretty unique. I don't know of another builder that has medical doctors part of the team, but they bring their expertise in terms of exactly this area, and for the homes that we're developing for Washington, for the active aging community, they're a big part of creating those designs.
That's great. Any other questions? Yes, right here in front.
Multifamily. How can you? Are they stackable? How high can you go? What is the timeline for you to start doing multifamily?
Yeah, so that would be the next stage for us. And initially, currently, the systems that we utilize go up to 4 levels, 4 stories. So that is suitable for kind of small to mid-rise type of multifamily structures. Especially in California, it's a big opportunity. There have been a lot of laws recently that incentivize density. So you could actually build multiple units now, even on a single family lot. You could build 4+ units. So certainly that's the next step for us, and we're planning sometime next year to get into the space.
Yeah, right there. We had a question right here in the middle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
You've talked a lot about the building costs, and I was looking online in your houses. Very, very impressive, by the way. But what about operating costs? Since you're built for efficiency, I read that you had solar panels and also HVAC, you know, better optimization and other types of ecotech. So talk about the operating costs.
Thank you. Yes, so starting with, obviously, utilities are a big part of operating costs, and so having solar and generating 100% of your power that you need for the home because it's fully electric, that eliminates your electrical bill going forward. So that's a big cost savings. We also integrate gray water recycling systems in our homes that reduce water consumption by 40%. So that directly translates to your water bill. And ultimately, because homes are stronger and climate resilient, they need less maintenance over time. So yes, it does reduce that maintenance and operations cost for the home over time.
Fantastic. I'm like ready to sign up already. So
Congratulations on your current success and partnership. I had a question in regards to landslides and fire preventability. Because I know Calabasas and Malibu, they have some really big concerns. I know Karen Bass and others are getting involved with incentives to build homes that are, less flammable. So I just wanted to see if you could touch on that.
Absolutely. So the components that we use and the structural designs that we create are tested and designed for, been tested for 9.0 earthquakes, category 4 hurricanes. So we absolutely think about that from the start, as well as the fire retardancy. So a lot of the materials that we use are either naturally fire retardant or we add that capability, specifically for California, because fires are a big concern here. And so this is some of the areas where we see being also very competitive because it is something that traditional builders are not offering. And so we can go to areas that are high fire prone areas, earthquake areas, or other types of natural challenges that typically impact the home.
yeah, that's clearly an increasing challenge we're seeing with climate causing a lot more damage to property than we've seen in previous years with the recent hurricanes and fires and mudslides.
Well, exactly. The recent hurricane in Florida, 3 million people were left without power. Dozens, hundreds of homes completely destroyed, just wiped off with a flood or with the force of winds of hurricane. And that's something that we need to change. These events will keep happening more and more, and we need to make our homes climate resilient that can withstand so that we don't have to have that human tragedy and rebuild again.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about what the impacts on, for example, insurance premiums will be after an event like that. You could actually see that some of these insurance policies could become unaffordable, and then the values of the homes will actually be reduced as well. It may be quite impactful on personal finances for many people. So I think it's very important that we're building homes to be able to withstand these changing conditions. That's great. Any other questions before we wrap up? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have any builder tax credits or any incentives for building green equipment?
Yes, so it's starting to happen. The first incentive came from the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the energy efficiency incentives for home builders. That's still minimal. It's $5,000, but it is something. And I see that happening more and more, both on the side of incentives as well as disincentives, such as taxes. So now more than 50 jurisdictions in the U.S. have decarbonization legislation. And so for the next 30 years, it's going to start happening in terms of taxes on builders who are not as sustainable, and then incentives, just as we saw in the transportation industry, for building energy efficient homes.
Yeah, 2 more questions.
Okay. I also like to ask, will cost of living in terms of where you build play a role? For instance, I'm from California, but I live and reside somewhere where it's a lot cheaper now. And I'm also interested in purchasing property outside the country. Will you be extending this to places outside the country?
Absolutely, that's the goal, and we started in California for a number of reasons, but one thing that's great is that this is a center of innovation, and generally the population and home buyers are more aware of new technologies and more keen to adopt them. But absolutely, like we go into the state of Washington next, and then looking to expand nationally as well as internationally. We've seen a lot of demand specifically for hospitality assets, destination assets in a lot of places like Bahamas, Costa Rica, Mexico, Indonesia. And so absolutely that is part of the plan going forward. And I would be personally very excited because I have an international background. I love traveling, so I can't wait.
Great. One last question from
Yeah, so I wanted to ask how you guys are approaching sound design and the speaker systems and integrating that with your sort of wellness areas and noise proofing as well.
So the soundproofing that comes kind of naturally with the panels that we utilize have a superior soundproofing, and that makes a huge difference, especially in areas like in the desert where we built, where it's windy a lot of the times, and you could just hear the wind howling outside, but once you walk inside the home, it's totally quiet. And then adding just integrating surround sound systems like Sonos, for example, throughout the home that allows you to play music, be conducive to things like meditation, relaxation. And so that's one of the components that we focus on.
Great. Well, thank you so much for such an inspiring story. It's great to hear what the future holds for residential real estate, and I hope one day to become a customer. So big round of applause for Basil and Jamil.
Thank you.